When you say, well, I don't want to be judgmental anymore, how does the judgmental program of beliefs respond? Well, it might say something, well, that's stupid. How is it responding? It's being judgmental, and it wants you to believe that not being judgmental is stupid. Because if you believe that, you have reinforced the idea that it's stupid or that you're stupid, and therefore you're being more judgmental and you're acting upon the idea of being judgmental, and it's reinforced and you're going along with it. There's a difference of we tend to see the big ones first because these have the biggest emotional component and kind of can take a while to get our head around and get to change. But once you change it, then there's like, I describe it as you've come back to your house after there's been a flood, and the mud is like a foot deep in your house, and so you're cleaning up with a shovel and you're like, oh man, we're never going to get there. And so you're scooping things out with a shovel and wheelbarrow, and that's how the cleaning up feels like in the beginning. But then you do all this hard work, heavy lifting, you get all the mud out of the house, and you get to see the floor, and you're like, oh my God, this is fantastic. You can walk around and you're not walking on mud, right? But then like the floor is still dirty. And so you're like, okay, now we need to mop it up. And so you come back to maybe some of the similar areas you've been to before where there's a judge, but it's not like a foot thick, and the judge is the foundation of your belief system. No, you're walking on the floor, but you're like, well, there's still mud and dirt, but I'm going after it with a mop. I need a different set of tools. It's more subtle, more detailed. And you're like, okay, now we mop the floor. And then feels like, oh my God, okay, so feels like you're done mopping, like, okay, that's done. Maybe the house is now livable and you're like, okay, I like being here. But then you're like, oh, you spend time in your house and you're like, well, there's dirt in the corner, and then it's like in between the grout and this tile, and it's over here under the cabinet, and I didn't get, so you start like, okay, now I need to get down on my hands and knees. I need to wipe into little corners and get little screwdrivers, take it out of things. I'm like, okay, I need to polish the grout. So you start getting into this different set of tools, and you're like, oh, I'm still in the dirt, and you can get all from, oh my God, it's dirty. But how much dirt is there compared to a foot of mud, right? It still is, oh my God, it's dirty, but really how dirty? And, so is the house still dirty? Is the room still dirty? Is the floor still dirty? Yes, but it's a different dirty. Okay. And so what is you're cleaning up, and it's a different kind of normal. And so they're still cleaning along the way, but it's a completely different experience of living. All right, so I want to give you a mental model for this. Something I wanted to cover today. So I just wanted to like class download and give you then a frame within this model of why the mind and these ideas behave the way they do. Okay? And then we can come back to that specific thing. So I even wrote some notes about this, so I'll try and get over there and maybe it'll help be organized. So this is a mental model for how the mind works, how ideas, thoughts, belief systems operate. And I'll use as my mentor Miguel Ruiz talks about in the 4 Agreements, talks about things in the mind acting and behaving the way of a parasite. And if we're trying to dismantle the ego, we're trying to dismantle core beliefs, I think this concept, this model for understanding these very sticky ideas in the mind, why they might be difficult to change, why they might resist, I think is helpful, so that when you see this resistance, you see it fighting back, you see it digging in more, you go, oh, of course it's going to do this. You're not fighting, this will help clear up some of the confusion reactions that happen. Okay. And so if you think about how a parasite is, why does he use that term? There's a good talk by Dan Dennett on a TED Talk. It talks about memes. The tendency when we think of ideas and thoughts or things in the mind is to think of them as fixed. They're like words on a piece of paper, right? If I do nothing with it, it just stays there. And I'll look at it later. It's the same words. Okay. That's not what happens in the mind. What happens in the mind, things in the mind are alive. Let's think in this model, ideas are alive. Because sometimes you get this idea and it's like, get all excited about it. You get a song playing in your head and it just keeps playing. If you watch and I did this for one of the classes, you go on YouTube and you can look up video of neural pathways firing. And you can see them growing when they fire and they connect, and they're like, and then they're firing a lot more. Like they're growing and they're becoming alive, like a muscle strengthening. And so if you just see the neural pathways of firing in the brain, they become stronger over time, particularly with repetition. That's how anything gets stronger. So with this idea of them being alive, this may help, like, what is confirmation bias? Why are people doing irrational behaviors? We can even talk about human sacrifice with this model. Most importantly, why do we go against our own well-being? I think this model of using a parasite that's alive, ideas are alive, is really helpful. Okay. So let's think about how a parasite works. A parasite goes inside the hosts, affects the way the host makes a choice, thinks about things, decides things, and its behavior that benefits the parasite, doesn't benefit or even sacrifice the host. There's a fluke example. There's a parasite that goes inside somewhere in the brain of an ant and drives that ant to go balance itself on the very tip of a blade of grass. Why do that? Because on that top tip of the blade of grass, where it's the highest, it's most likely to be eaten by another animal like a sheep or a cow, which is where that parasite needs to go to get to the next stage of its life cycle. And so it takes over the host. The ant has no business, to benefit to be on the top of a blade of grass. Like, that's not where ants hang out. That's not what they're doing to help the colony and to help their survival, but it's balanced. But when the parasite takes over the ant hangs out on the top of this tip blade of grass, trying to stay there for a sheep or cow to come by. Maybe it's falling off. It's like the parasite's controlling the host for the detriment of the ant, because the ant's going to get eaten. That's not good for the ant, but it's good for the parasite. So this is the way a parasite controls the host, just through little neural pathways pushing things around. So if we look at our ego mind, our belief system, functioning the way a parasite functions, these ideas are operating on their own behalf and not for us, or not for us as consciousness, not for this human body as us, not for the well-being of our emotions to make us happy. All right. So when we say it's not working for us, we can look at it in different dimensions. Like, whether we're identified with the body or consciousness or just even our own happiness. Okay, these ideas or programs of beliefs are operating to not just maintain their own survival, but grow, strengthen. I mean, what does any living thing want to do? It wants to grow, strengthen, propagate. So an idea, whether it's a fearful idea or a judgmental idea, is trying to become stronger in your mind. And so when you say, well, I don't want to be judgmental anymore, how does the judgmental program of beliefs respond? Well, it might say something, well, that's stupid. How is it responding? It's being judgmental, and it wants you to believe that not being judgmental is stupid. Because if you believe that, you have reinforced the idea that it's stupid or that you're stupid, and therefore you're being more judgmental and you're acting upon the idea of being judgmental, and it's reinforced and you're going along with it. Okay. When you see even that belief, oh, this is a really judgmental thought, and you see it with awareness, see, now, being separate as the observer, looking at that, say, judgmental thought, what happens when you do that? Because you're applying the practices. Well, that idea, the judgmental thought or the judge, the inner critic, doesn't have any power, and it's going to dissolve over time with that kind of level of awareness. The idea, and this is how you kill an idea, is to observe it with awareness and to bring like your laser focus attention, and that idea pops. You know, people ask, well, how do you kill an idea? That's kind of a nifty trick, isn't it? Well, you have yourself separate from the idea, detached from it, observe it with awareness, and hold it in a way that you see this isn't true. You don't have to do anything with the idea, but there's a lot of things you can do to keep it going and make strength in it. Like you identify with it, you attach to it, you believe those thoughts, you adopt its perspective, you act on it. That will reinforce the idea. Okay, so those things that move you separate, observe it with awareness, with your attention on it, dissolve it. What also reinforces an idea is hating it. Putting lots of attention on it. This is so stupid. I hate that thing. I can't stand it. That doesn't do anything to dissolve it. Because while you're busy looking at it with hate, you're also little underneath or judging it or being afraid of it. You're also in there going, this is a very valid thing. It's a big thing. It's a problem thing. It's being validated in kind of this various unconscious ways. It's big. It's a problem. Okay. That are more subtle, that are below the surface of the narrative. Okay. But if you really see it with awareness and you go, this is an idea, it's not important. I give it no power of mine, no emotion, no investment, no attachment. There's nothing holding it in your mind. But if you're attacking it, you are holding it in your mind. You're like, I'm going to wrestle with it. I'm going to fight you. It's like when you're grabbing your arms around it. Right? I'm going to give you lots of attention that you're a big thing, and in a way you're unconsciously supporting it. Now, so it loves when you wrestle with it because it's getting, yes, this is how I grow. So now these ideas being alive, and we've got lots of them. We're going to say because we have a mind and we can have 1,000 different ideas that, some are active, some are inactive. These ideas that are alive, parasites, what happens like you have a parasite, it's like a tapeworm, a parasite, I guess, like you have an imbalanced gut biome, you get a craving for sugar and things like that, right? And you start to want to feed the bacteria sugar that's used to having sugar. And what does that do? It even in your gut biome informs your brain, hey, we're craving something. Yes, it's the bacteria that's not a healthy bacteria, it's craving sugar. Go look for sugar foods. And it pushes our mind to go feed essentially a parasite in our microbiome in our gut. Okay. What do we crave? We feel a craving, but the craving is being sensed. Not from our body, but from the host of the bacteria that our body is supporting as a host. So we don't just have parasites as ideas, we have parasites in our body, and it pushes our mind, do things, take an action to have sugar that will support this bacteria that's unhealthy for the body. Okay. Ideas will push us to go do things that will cause us to reinforce the idea. Okay. I'm going to go feel I don't have enough money. I'm going to feel that I financially unsupported. That idea pushes, then I need to go make a lot of money. I need to go get rich quick. It's really urgent. And I go invest in some stock I heard about, that everybody's investing in, and I get all excited and I go, yeah, this is going to help me have enough money. The idea of not having enough money pushes the other idea. I need to go get a bunch. I need to go get it right away in a reactive way, in not generally how people really make money long term, right? Or I go gamble, I've got to make it back. And now when we've been very risky with our money, generally lose it. And now we come back to, oh, I don't have enough money. I've reinforced the idea I don't have enough money. What did it start with? It started with the belief idea, I don't have enough money. It pushed us to take an action that caused us to have less money. Okay. So now what do we believe? I really don't have enough money now. What did we do? We followed the impulse of this chain and fed the I don't have enough money story. And now this is the way this idea has grown stronger. And this is why one of the things we did on the cleanse is, when you were in that process, what did we do? We starved a bunch of these ideas. We starved the sugar parasite in our body and cleansed it. And also we cleansed the part of our mind that says, I need to eat that. I need to drink that. I got to have that. It's like, no, we made a really disciplined action and we're going to starve that idea that's pushing us to put unhealthy things in our body. So, and one of the things you do, like, oh, I get really clear that idea is separate. I'm separate from the idea, and it helps dissolve it. Okay. So another thing about ideas is they look for a certain environment. And by environment, a person's mind is the environment. A person who is full of fear is susceptible to one more fearful thought. Okay. A person who's happy and optimistic is susceptible to an optimistic thought. If you're doing a meditation on gratitude and you're doing it in the morning, you feel better and you're in a grateful state. You go about your day and you see things like, yeah, that's nice. Oh, that's good. Oh, this is good. Like the things you see are interpreted in that way. And if you watch the news, it's feeding you a diet of fear and potentially anger, depending on the station. Your mind and all your ideas are being nourished with more fear. And you're open to watch the news the next day when it brings up the next topic. Here's another fearful story. It's like, I'm ready to absorb it. I've got room because I've built this huge environment to have more fear. Or we could say, the ideas have made a big space for more ideas that are like them. Because we're like, when I say that you are doing this, I have to say, well, like, are you doing this or are the ideas doing this to you? You know, who wants to watch the news? Does the parasitic idea of fear want to watch the news, or do you? Do you really enjoy sitting there, downloading the narratives of fear throughout the world, like listening to the most fearful, horrific things that the news programs, because they're showing drama? Do you enjoy that physically, emotionally in your body? Or do the ideas of fear get fed that way and strengthen their environment? Who is being nourished with that content? Fearful ideas or you and healthy emotions, right? Now, when these ideas get fed, particularly the parasitic ones that don't serve you, that are particularly anger, jealousy, fearful type ideas get fed, there's an interesting dynamic. So after watching the news, after getting in an argument, after venting, there can be a good feeling. You watch the news like, oh, now I know what's going on. Feel satisfied. I got the complete story. I've got a full, complete narrative. There's something satisfying that we maybe tell ourselves, or maybe that the parasitic idea of fear tells us that it feels because it just got fed. It's like, oh my God, I just had the best meal. Oh, I got so, like, we could feel the satisfaction that the parasitic idea feels, as well as its craving. And it's informing us that it was like, is it us that feels satisfied or is it feeling satisfied? We feel its craving, we feel its drive to get more sugar or more fear or more anger, or get more right up and feel more right, and that we know what's going on. And then after we vent or we get the sugar and we've nourished the fear or the sugar craving, and we feel so right and we're so angry and we know what we need to have to do, are we satisfied? Or is this parasitic idea or the bacteria in our gut satisfied? Right? And when we, so this is how a parasitic idea leverages our mind to serve it instead of us. And if we look at then when we challenge these fears, false beliefs, judgmental opinions, victim stories, when we challenge it, how does it respond? It's like, I'm not going to believe you. I'm gonna go do my writing exercise. I'm going to go do my self-mastery exercise. I'm going to go meditate in presence and practice acceptance and awareness and detachment, right? How does our mind respond? Thou protest. The mind responds, these ideas responds, because what will happen if you really do this work? What will happen to the ideas that are fearful, that are judgmental, that are controlling this human? Well, those ideas won't have any control over the human. The human won't do things that will serve these ideas. And if you don't serve these ideas and you don't feed them their nourishment, you don't feed it the bacteria, the sugar, and you don't feed the stories fear, you don't feed the stories anger and rationalizations and justifications and more expectations that are false, and self-judgment and self-judgment and self-judgment and judgment of others. If you don't feed it that and you don't believe in that and you don't identify with that, what happens to anything that doesn't get fed? Starving. It's dying. How would it feel? Well, first sense is usually with a story. Oh, that's bad. You don't want to do that. Let's put that off. Let's do it later. Let's push your attention to something else other than a practice. Oh, and then you go to the next level, like, nah, I'm not putting off. I'm going to do this now. It's like, no, you don't want to. Let me distract you while you're doing the practice. Go check your phone. Go look at Facebook. Go XYZ. Okay. Go get something to eat. Let me distract you. Oh, you're really going to do this? Actually, you're going to sign up for the group coaching and you're going to show up on calls, and son of a bitch, Gary's going to talk about awareness, and you're going to might maybe do a meditation, become separate. Uncomfortable, afraid, excuses. No, that's too much money. Okay. Finding reasons not to show up, not to do it. Oh, this is silly. Then it goes to fear, and then it goes to protest, and then it goes to you're doing a terrible job. You suck at this. Everybody's so much better. You should just quit. Why should you quit? Are you doing a terrible job, or is it threatened? Are your ideas that are based in fear threatened? And it doesn't think that you're really doing a terrible job, but it's going to try and tell you anything and everything that will try and get you to quit. Because if you quit, if you don't do this exercise, you don't do a practice, it can go, oh, yeah, that was such a good decision. That was such a good decision. I didn't do that exercise, and I didn't do the coaching, and I didn't do the practice, and I didn't do the course. Oh, yeah, that was the right decision. It feels incredible relief when you didn't do something that went against it. And oh, by the way, you will feel its relief, and and if you are identified with it, you will believe that you made the right decision. Okay. So now if a ego mind is like Parasite, this is where confirmation bias comes in. And you have the idea, I'm not lovable. I'm a terrible person. Something's terribly wrong with me, and I'm not lovable. And someone says to me, Gary, you're beautiful. I love you. And the idea, I'm not lovable. And somebody says, Gary, I love you. What is this idea, belief about my self-image, my worth? want to do with this love coming in. It will say, well, if I let love in, this will mean that I'm apparently lovable. Well, then the idea I'm not lovable because something's wrong with me, well, these can't coexist. This person loves me and I'm not lovable. It's like, well, if you believe one, well, this one, we have to push it away, because the idea that I'm loved by another person, well, that is threatening to the I'm not lovable story. This parasite's already got a hold of the human and say, this is my host. I control him. And if you love him, I can't survive here, because he's going to feel love. He's going to know that he's loved. He won't believe my story. He won't believe that he's not good enough anymore. He won't believe he's not lovable. And I'll get starved when he loves himself, but he lets other people love him. So no, I need to kick that out idea. I'm going to dismiss that idea. You say that, but it's not really true. You say that, but I don't believe you. You say you love me, but I can't trust you. You say you love me, but I feel threatened. I'm not able to commit. I'm going to sabotage this. When I say the idea is going to sabotage that relationship, not trust it, be threatened by it, threatened by intimacy, threatened by connection. Anything that is close, loving intimacy and really feeling that you're loved is a threat to the idea I'm not lovable. And what does the idea want to do? It wants to use this human, push that person away, don't trust. We need to get rid of them somehow. Oh yeah, they really love us. That try to get me to believe there's something really wrong with them if they love me. I need to really check. I need to keep an eye out and not trust them if they are doing that, because they're threatening the idea. Right? So this is where you get confirmation bias. If we have an idea, the idea doesn't want us to consider anything that is opposing or different. And what happens if, okay, because it's threatening to the idea that is controlling the host. Do I, as a person in my integrity, want to be in a loving relationship? Absolutely. That sounds like an awesome thing to do. The idea says, nope, we have to block that out for its survival. And it tries to get me to operate on its behalf. The only chance I have is awareness. And awareness is that gap between me and this idea that wants to control me. Okay, and this is where we get into confirmation bias. If I believe I'm not lovable and somebody's like, yeah, you stupid idiot, I'm like, the idea goes, that feels so right to me. Yes, I totally believe that I'm such a screw up. I'm a terrible person. It's like, yeah, I know. That's how the idea wants me to respond to that narrative. Because then it goes, yeah, see, I'm not lovable, and it grows and gets stronger. It has more control over me. So it looks for like ideas, even if they are painful and self-rejecting and hurtful, because it supports the parasitic ego structure of the belief that exists. It serves the parasite mind and not the human, and certainly not consciousness. All right. So, and this goes further, because you look at this parasitic, the ego mind is a parasite, it's a living dream, it's alive in the mind. You know, then you start to see that, like, the mind can make up its own ideas, and ideas can give birth to ideas, right? Oh, I'm not lovable. There's something wrong with me. We have that idea, and then we're like, oh, then we just start having that idea grows more ideas and gives offspring. As well, they probably don't like me either, and they probably don't like me. And oh, I'll go to that party and things like that, but nobody will talk to me. and I'll just get rejected. I want to go ask that person out, but they'll probably say no. Like I'm imagining that dream is imagining more self-rejection and giving me ideas about future things. Right? If you want to take this to an extreme, the idea can even go so far as it will sacrifice this human being. Okay, if we take the idea of kind of the idea narrative story takes control of that human to a degree, it says, I'm so worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm so broken, life is horrible, I should just die, I'm just wasting air. Right? It's an idea of self-rejection, idea of self-rejection, idea of self-hate and unworthiness that become so painful that part of you doesn't want to live in the pain, not recognizing what the actual cause is. Thinks the pain is caused because I'm actually a horrible person or I'm broken, something's wrong with me. When it's actually, I'm attached to this identity that's only part of an idea of me. And so that's the difference between having awareness and not having awareness. You have awareness, like, well, that's the ideas of me, but that's not me. But if you don't have that awareness, the nerve can go, yeah, it's not even worth living. What happens when a person takes their own life, right? So many people know about it. And the idea of taking one's life is now spread around to a lot of other people. And what often happens when someone takes their own life is there's then there can be other people around that do that also. Okay. It's like the idea is even spread when the human being is sacrificed. So, and there's more to this when we take this on a societal level or collective consciousness level, how these ideas are running human beings as opposed to human beings or consciousness choosing their ideas. It's how the collective unconscious works. People are collectively, unconsciously living under whole large scale ideas that they don't have control or conscious choice over. But for you individually, the key is, do you have conscious control over your beliefs? Do you choose your beliefs, or do beliefs control your attention? Do you use your attention to control your beliefs? Or do your beliefs control your attention? And this is the human struggle with the ego mind and fear and lies. That it probably took me a good year to realize my beliefs controlled my attention. Fear was the foundational emotion of my beliefs. And so fear-based beliefs were controlling my attention, directing me what it wanted to do. And I was overall following. And realizing that I had to take a very serious commitment to say, I want control of my attention and I want to use it to control and decide my beliefs and my emotions. So this is the framework of challenging the ego mind when you look at it with the model of the ego mind, false beliefs as a parasite, directing our thoughts, our emotions, our behaviors. Okay, and I think it's very helpful when you see sometimes the struggle to make changes, how we like try to do something, but we get sabotaged. Oh, I'm going to make this commitment. I'm going to write and do my exercises so much or my meditation so much. And other things want to creep in and distract us or take us off of the track we've decided. The same thing happens with commitments. We want to go work out at the gym. It takes a very big commitment to say, no, I'm gonna take control of my attention. I'm going to say no to these tyrant beliefs, tyrant ideas, judgmental ideas, victim ideas, fearful ideas. And this is why Miguel in the Four Agreements, he says, okay, you need to make a declaration of war. He's like, you have to take it very seriously. It's like, or else the belief system and this collection of ideas will negotiate themselves back in charge. But once you start to see how it really, you have awareness, how they really operate, you're like, okay, no more. You make that commitment. You're like, I may not win. And this was my conclusion many times, like, okay, I may not win, but I have to try. Okay, because I don't want to live under the tyranny of this for the rest of my life. It's like whatever progress I make will be better than none.